You can email as well. Meanwhile, in Paul, it's Alan Elbow Newman. Retire for hire. Tell us more, Al.
Good morning, Alex. Yes, I'm in the office of Chris Croft, who started this little website. It's a new creation for him. He has another business, but he thought he'd do this. We'll speak to Chris in just a moment. But I suppose it's responding to the massive amount of people who are preparing for their retirement, are retiring at the age of 55, are enormously skilled, and then find themselves, after the first 3 months, if we're to believe the research, then sitting around going, actually, I feel that I have a huge amount to still contribute. And Chris was drawn to this sort of architects, project managers, engineers, people with skills that have taken a long time to create. Where do they go once they've retired? Well done then for planning to retire. Even better if they've got to the place where they can retire early at 55 or, around that sort of age. But what do they do then? So I spotted this website, just launched very recently online. Thought I'd give Chris a call to find out why he put it together. So, Chris, welcome to the Alex Dyke Show. A nice idea. We should start really talking about you. How old are you, and then why have you bothered to do this?
Well, I'm 54. I'm happily working. I'm not planning to retire soon. But because I'm self-employed, I can gradually ease off down from 5 days a week down to maybe 1 or 2 if I want. But a lot of full-time people can't do that. So they just drop off a cliff when they retire. And I read somewhere that you're quite likely to die within a couple of years of dropping off that cliff. So one way to stay sane is to keep yourself doing something in your spare time, and that's what this website is designed to help people do.
Morning, Chris. Why do people kick the bucket then? Where's the danger in retiring and then suddenly popping your clogs after a couple of years?
I don't think anyone knows why people do that, but it's something to do with the stress of working keeps you alive, bizarrely. It's a bit like when you go on holiday, sometimes you get ill. So when you stop working, it's the shock, it's the change to your system, I think, that suddenly you perhaps don't have a reason to live anymore, and you keel over.
I think one of the interesting and rather sad things, probably more for men than women, but maybe for more women who've been in powerful positions or in just very, very busy positions. But I definitely think this is a case for men. They're running a team, they're sending out emails, they're going to meetings, they're putting out fires, they're telling people how it should be, and then suddenly they retire, they have the big party, they've got that nice holiday they look forward to, they go on the cruise, get back, and then they're at home, and the only person they've got to boss about is their wife, but actually she's bossing them around because that guy's now under the feet and he's sat in the conservatory. After he's read the papers, what does he do?
Yes. A friend of mine sold his company off for millions, did exactly what you described for a year, and then sat around and got bored, and he's now started up another company. So I think that's a common thing. You're just bored, you think, what on earth am I going to do? And it's all right if you've been an entrepreneur, but if you've been working as, say, an architect or something like that, what are you going to do when you retire? And wouldn't it be great if you could carry on using all that skill and knowledge? And I wanted somebody to have a look at my house and just, give me some quick, cheap advice on what on earth I should do with all the things that are wrong with my house. And I was thinking, I don't want to get a full-time, expensive architect company in. Wouldn't it be great if there was a nice retired guy, maybe just up the road from me, who could come round for an hour or two, give me a bit of help, I could pay him some money. Wouldn't it be good if there was a website where I could find people like that?
Yeah.
So I would benefit, and so would he.
And maybe also a retired bricklayer who you might just have a little bit of pointing for him to do. You don't want him to knock any walls down or build an extension, but you're thinking that back wall should be pointed, and if a guy came around and did 2 days a week, it would be done in a couple of weeks. So
and an older guy, maybe more trustworthy, maybe a nice guy, and so it was partly so that they could earn a little bit of money, because your pension's not going to be as much as you think, and people, I think, will be looking for ways to supplement that. But the main thing was mentally to keep yourself sane, because you've got to do something when you... And some people retire now at, say, 55, which is ridiculously young. I mean, that's me in a year's time. I can't believe it. So I just couldn't bear the thought of having nothing to do, and there's no provision at the moment. There's the world of employment, and then there's the world of being senile, aged 90, and there's nothing in between. There's no provision for people in between, as far as I can see.
I like your idea. I think it's a good idea, but you know what? Maybe you've got me thinking now. I'm 52, and I want a gap year. That's what I want. I want to get in
definitely.
I want to get on a plane. I want to fly to New York. I want to hire a car. I want to drive to Detroit. I want to do the Motown thing. I then want to drive down to Graceland. I then want to pick up and get onto Route 66, drive through to California, spend some time there, then go off to Hawaii, come back and sort a few things out and come back to work in a year's time. Maybe you should be encouraging guys like us and ladies too to have the gap year.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is that all the options are there, aren't you? And my dad was in the Navy, and he retired from the Navy, and he now does translations into and out of Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish for some reason. Don't ask why. But he's been having a whole second career. He had a little bit of a gap before he started that, and now he happily beavers away, and he can choose whether he wants to do a day a week, nothing for a month, 5 days a week. But it's good if there's a place where people like that can advertise themselves, and that's what we're setting out to do.
It's hard for folk, though, isn't it? Because if you're, I don't know, say you're working in a shop and you're the best salesperson in that carpet shop, and you say to your boss, "I want a gap year," the first thing he's going to say is, "How am I going to fill your place for a year? Also, you're my best salesman. I don't really want you going off." And sometimes you can feel shackled to your boss, can't you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, the best thing I ever did was go self-employed, I think. I probably am unemployable, but I love being self-employed now. And it means that I'm not dependent on any one customer if you've got a variety of customers. But I think most people find it really hard to make the jump from being employed to self-employed. Yeah. And at least with this, when your employed job ends, and it might be just because your face doesn't fit, or the company closes, or outsources to China or something, at least there's a way that you could then carry on using your skills if you wanted. Or try using a totally different thing. If you wanted to get into making jewellery instead of being a fireman, or get into translating instead of being in the Navy, you could put your skills on our website and just see whether there's demand for that kind of thing. You could try it.
I bet
put yourself on the site and see what comes in.
Chris, I bet you haven't got a carpet fitter, because no guy over 55, his knees are going to be shot. There are no old because they get carpet fitter's knee. There's not going to be a carpet fitter in Britain over 51 years old. I'm telling you.
I'll have to have a look on the site and see. It is searchable. You can just type in carpet and see, and I'll have a look.
What have you got on there then? You've got architects. You've mentioned them.
Yeah.
What about
all kinds of things?
Solicitors and people like that.
I don't know if we've got a solicitor. We've got all sorts of things. We've certainly got builders and brickies and welders and people like that. We've only got about 50 or 60 people at the moment, and we want to get it up to a critical mass. We want to get a few thousand people on there, really, so that it becomes a site that's really worth going to. So our number one thing that we really want is for everyone just to sign themselves up. If they've got a skill they think that the world might want, put yourself on there.
Yeah, how are you making money out of it?
I'm not making any money out of it at all. Originally, we thought we might take a cut, but actually, when we started thinking about it, we realised it was going to be really difficult to police the taking of a cut. So we thought, hey, why don't we just do it for free? What the hell? Because it hasn't cost much.
You should have opened with that. I'd have given you a lot more airtime, and I'd have been nicer to you.
Yeah, it is completely charitable. I suppose if it becomes huge one day, I might sell it and make money, but it's really not about that. I'm quite happy in my day job making money. So we wanted to put a bit back and just try to change the world a bit, because you never know, it might. My business partner, Hagen, is a software guy, so he's made the site himself. It's a hell of a good job if you look at it. We've had to pay a graphic designer. It's cost us a few £100, but...
So it's retired for hire, and it's as in the numeral 4.
The number 4. Retired for hire, and just go on there and put yourself on there. We don't make any money, we don't take any cut. It just puts people in touch and they can negotiate a price. In fact, my dad is offering unicycling lessons for free. He would like to teach people that, so he's put himself on there as a unicycle trainer. So, the money may not even change hands at all, but it just puts people in touch if they want to do it. And we just want to try to make a difference to that huge gap of people from sort of 50 to 70 or older.
All right, well, good luck. Now, maybe we'll get you in the studio and we'll talk more about it at a later date. But for now,
pleasure,
thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. It's been great.
Return